Welcome to The Explainer, where we take on complex topics and break them down into guides that are clear and, most importantly, manageable. So, you're getting ready for the Deutsch test for den Beruf B2, right? If you are, you probably know just how, well, daunting it can feel. That written portion especially can be a real headache. But hey, don't you worry. We've got a clear roadmap for you. In this explainer, we're going to walk through the entire written test, step by step, so you know exactly what's coming. All right, let's get right into it. First things first, we need to understand the big picture structure of this test. So the exam is basically split in two. You've got your big written exam and then a separate oral exam. But for today, we're putting all our energy into one thing, cracking that written test. Okay, now this is super important. We need to talk about how your time is structured during the written exam because, let me tell you, it's probably not what you're thinking. See, it's not like you get one big chunk of time to do everything. No, the written test is broken down into these very specific timed blocks. And here's the kicker. You can only manage your time within each block. You can't borrow time from another section. That is absolutely vital to understand. When you add it all up, you're looking at a total working time of 125 minutes. So yeah, every single minute is going to count. Okay, let's jump into that first block. We're going to look at the reading tasks and how they test different skills. The big question is, how should you actually approach them? All right, for reading part 1 and part 2, here's the rule of thumb. Give yourself a hard limit of 10 minutes for each one. If you can be disciplined here, trust me, it's going to pay off big time later in the exam. And what's really fascinating about these two parts is how they make you switch gears mentally. Part 1 is basically a matching game. It's all about speed and finding keywords. But then part 2 forces you to slow down and really focus on careful, detailed understanding. Now, let's talk about the part that trips up a lot of people, reading part 4. A lot of students say this is the toughest one, so we're going to break it down completely. The type of text you're going to see is called a Protokoll. Think of it as the official minutes from a meeting. It's a super common kind of document you'd see in any German office. Knowing how these things are structured is the key to unlocking it. You'll see a header, then a section called Anwesende. That's just the list of people who were there. But the most important part, look for the Tagesordnungspunkte, or TOPs for short. These are the agenda items, and they are literally your map through the entire document. A big mistake people make is getting bogged down in all the back and forth discussion. Don't do that. Just focus on the final decisions made under each TOP. And this right here is probably the most important strategy you need to know for this part. The answers to the questions, they show up in the text in pretty much the same order. Seriously, there are no tricks here. You just have to follow the flow of the document. All right, let's move on to a really interesting section, one that combines two skills at once, reading comprehension and professional writing. So here's the scenario. You have to put yourself in the shoes of an employee. First, you get an email from your boss telling you what to do. Then you have to read and understand a complaint email from a customer, and your job is to put it all together and write one single formal email back to that customer that actually solves their problem. The whole point here is to see if you can communicate professionally. You're not just writing an email for the sake of it. You're solving a real-world problem that could happen at any job. That's what the examiners are really looking for. Okay, so we've broken down all the parts. Now, how do we pull all this information together into a strategy that's actually going to work on exam day? First step, and this is totally non-negotiable, you have to be strict with your time. Look at these recommended times and stick to them like glue. This is how you make sure you get to finish every single section and do it with confidence. And finally, let's lock in the most crucial takeaways. Number 1, get your hands on the official practice tests, the Modell test. They are your absolute best friend for preparation. Number 2, always read the questions before you read the text. It helps you know exactly what to look for. And here's a super practical tip. Practice filling out that answer sheet. You have to fill in the little circles completely, not just tick them. And maybe most importantly, only answer based on what the text explicitly says, not what you might assume or think is right. And just remember what the experts say. Die Prüfung ist machbar. This exam is manageable. It's not trying to trick you, it's really just a challenge that you can absolutely handle, as long as you're prepared. So, with this guide, the path forward should be a whole lot clearer, which really just leaves one final question for you to answer.